Christ United Methodist Church. This is Kim Carpenter, and I'm doing a lesson for the kids today on Exodus chapter 12, verses 1 through 14, which is the first Passover. And I'm coming up to you from a very high height because we're going to talk about people having ups and downs. And in this whole passage, the Pharaoh is definitely having ups and downs, and the Israelites are having ups and downs. So when I talk about something that would make someone feel up, I want you to stand up. And when we're talking about something that would make people feel down, I want you to sit down. Okay? So we all have our ups and downs. Sometimes we are happy and sometimes we are sad. And we may be hardworking one day and lazy the next day. And we may be honest one day and we may be a little bit dishonest another day. Just like a yo-yo. So God had spoken to Moses from a burning bush. That was good. And told him to go to Pharaoh and set his people free. They had been slaves in Egypt for many years. So Moses and his brother Aaron went to see Pharaoh and asked him to set God's people free. But Pharaoh said, "No, I will not let them go." That was bad. Because Pharaoh refused to obey God, God began to send terrible plagues on Egypt. Oop, down. One time, God sent frogs all over the land. There were so many frogs that Pharaoh thought that he would just croak. At other times, God sent gnats and flies and locusts. That really bugged Pharaoh. Well, Pharaoh had more ups and downs than a yo-yo. When God would send one of the plagues, Pharaoh would tell Moses that if God would make it go away, he would let his people go. But after God made the plague go away, Pharaoh would change his mind and refuse to let the people go. Since Pharaoh was so hard-hearted and refused to let God's people go, God continued to send plagues all over Egypt. There were 10 in all. The final plague was the worst of all. God told Moses to tell Pharaoh that, So Pharaoh, that the last plague would be so terrible that it would change his heart and he would let his people go. Every firstborn and every firstborn son and every firstborn male animal would die. How sad. It's always sad to see what happens to people when they refuse to obey God. And since Pharaoh and the people in Egypt refused to do what God told them to do, they suffered terribly. That may be hard to understand, but remember, God had given them many opportunities to do what he told them to do, but they refused. God gave Moses instructions on how his own people were to prepare for the last plague. He said that every family was to take a 1-year-old lamb, one that was perfect in every way, and prepare a meal. They were to take some of the blood from the lamb and smear it on the sides and on the tops of the doorways of their houses. God warned the people that there was going to be a lot of death in the land. God said to his people, "The blood will serve as a sign on the houses where you live. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No harm will touch you when I strike the land of Egypt." After God sent the 10th plague, Pharaoh changed his mind and freed God's children. God cares for us, just like he cared for his children in Egypt long ago. In fact, he made a way for us to get out of our messes too. And just like Pharaoh, we have our ups and downs. But Jesus died on the cross for all the wrong things we have done. And if we believe him and ask him to come into our hearts, he will make it so that we can get to heaven. So I hope you guys enjoyed this message, and we hope you'll stay up for this whole week. Bye-bye.